wear brown and orange, you don't matter.
Let this be a reminder to you all that this organization will not tolerate failure.
Well, buddy boy, I want you to get excited here.
With the first pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Baker Mayfield.
Okay, listen up, people. I'm gonna turn you clowns into a football team.
To the best fans, the most patient fans in the league, the Browns are going to win.
When I woke up this morning, I was feeling pretty dangerous.
You all right? You alive? You breathing today?
It's been a rough day for me. I'm not gonna lie. As you can already hear, my voice is not well.
No,
because
not
I lost
really.
that completely yesterday. My voice is gone. I am shockingly hungover, which is not good either. So I have no voice.
I would
can
say that's
feel
not
my
surprising,
eyes.
though.
Yeah, no, it's really not. It's not, but worth it. All worth it, Kevin. I can't put into words what my feeling is, what everybody's feeling, especially the people in Cleveland, the fans of this team and this franchise. After that game yesterday, it really hit. I know it hit me, and I know it's got to be the same way for everybody else who supports and roots for this team. It really hit me how long it's been, like how long it truly has been, and it's euphoric. I've dreamt what this was going to feel like for a long time, and it's even better than I thought that it was going to be. Now that it's here, now that it's happened. So, yeah, it's just nothing but excitement. I don't know what to say. I feel like such a huge monkey has been lifted off the back of this franchise. I can't be happier for our fans, for this fan base who have suffered. We're 3 years removed from an 0-16 season.
That's a pretty big turnaround.
Yeah, it is. And to have one of the best records in franchise history, I think tied for the record. I don't think the Browns have ever gone 12-4 before. So to go 11-5, we get into the playoffs. We do it by beating a division rival, our arch rival. Listen, I'm very well aware of the fact that the Steelers rested some key players.
Mm-hmm.
T.J. Watt was resting, Big Ben was resting. I get it. I also don't care because they're still the Steelers, and we still won. So it feels good for it to happen the way that it did. And now we get to go play them for a third time coming up next week, and to kind of break that tie, the ultimate grudge match when it really, really counts. So it's just great to see everybody fired up as much as they are, and I'm in awe. I'm in awe, Kevin.
Playoffs.
Exactly. I can't believe that we're talking about the Cleveland Browns and the playoffs at the same time. Secretly, too, on this show, I know I'm not going to speak for you, Kevin. I would never do such an egregious thing. But I think that we can agree mutually that what we're both hoping for right now is a Packers-Browns Super Bowl.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what everybody wants.
Yeah. I think
that would just set the world on fire.
I haven't checked in the last couple hours, but I think odds makers have that as the favorite right now. A Browns Packer. No, I don't think anyone.
Is that the favorite? I don't think that's correct. I think that's a little bit wrong. If I had to take a guess there,
it's wishful thinking, though. It's wishful
Baker
thinking.
Mayfield, Aaron Rodgers shootout. We could do a shootout with the two guys. Baker coming out on top, of course, hosting that Lombardi. But that'd be great.
I realize that you probably haven't looked ahead yet, but you realize that is a reality for next season. The Browns head to Lambeau next season. They released the schedules yesterday or whenever. The Browns are headed to Lambeau next year.
Well, now I'm definitely excited about that. Perhaps a road trip is in order. We'll have to see how that's going. Yeah. So again, I'm not going to talk too much about the game itself yesterday. Obviously, we all saw it. We all knew what was on the line.
It was what it was.
I mean, it was. Listen, there was moments there, and it was a nail biter. Right up until the end, a lot of texting, a lot of people in Cleveland holding their breath. We've talked about it many times throughout the course of this year where the Cleveland Browns have taken a step and become a different football team and have become completely different than what they were before by winning games that normally they would have lost. And once again, this is just another example of something like that taking place. 2-3 years ago, this is an L. They're collapsing. They're folding. They're not hanging on to this game here at the end. But they did it. They did hang on. They did get the win. And I think that because they've been doing that all year and they've been experiencing this, they know how to, get it done. Unfortunately, we came up just short against Baltimore a couple weeks prior. But we did what we needed to do to win this game, and we were still kind of dinged up. Once again, Denzel Ward was out. We had a couple more people that were missing. Big blow to the defense in losing Olivier Vernon. He's got the torn not AC. That's a big deal. There's no way to sugarcoat that. That's a big deal. It's going to be a big blow for the defense. So we're just going to have to do what we've been doing all year long and just persevere and try to overcome that. And it's going to be that next man up mentality that the Browns have had all year now. It's already been a funky year as it is, not just for the Browns, for everybody in the league.
Absolutely.
But with the COVID situation and then other kinds of injuries, and we've managed to battle it. We haven't hung our heads on any of it. We've never been the team that uses it as an excuse. We go out, we play, and we do what we have to do. And Stefanski has had this team prepared all season long, and I expect him to do that again going into this game. So, we'll see how we get by that. But I'm happy to see that once again they got it done when they needed to get it done, and they did it in a way that was the payoff. It wasn't just a win. This wasn't any win. This was a win that broke an 18-year drought for this franchise, and just sets up an amazing battle coming up next week.
Well, a couple interesting notes that I saw over the course of the weekend. Both the Browns and Tampa Bay, who had the two longest playoff droughts, back in the playoffs this year. And
back in the playoffs.
I could be wrong on this, but I thought that I saw that now the holder of the longest playoff drought is Dallas. Is that correct?
That certainly could be. I think it has been a while since Dallas has been to the playoffs. I know Buffalo had it before they made it last year,
right,
or the year before, I believe. They broke their drought, and then that handed it over to us. So it's good to see us break that. That was just another. It's so people just 18 years, man, of listening to the national media and the pundits and everybody. Oh, the Browns. It's been this year many years since they've made the playoffs and blah 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 blah.
Yep.
So it's really good to finally see that now. Something that you had talked about, Kevin, because you for our thumbnail for this. I don't know if you want to put that up.
We'll pop that up.
But again, 18 years. Oh, this is horrifying. That makes me that scares me. That's a terrifying picture. But yeah, like you pointed it out. That's the year that this movie came out.
Yeah.
In case anybody doesn't know, that's a clip from Old School where they're about to go streaking. And it shocked me. I was like, oh my goodness, that movie is that old. And,
also that old. Yes.
Somebody put an article up about all the things that were taking place the last time the Browns, made the playoffs. Facebook didn't even exist. The majority of social media in general didn't exist.
Right.
There was the Kelly Clarkson won the inaugural year of American Idol. is just
Sure.
crazy, all the things that took place. And you look at it and you're like, wow, that was that long ago. So it feels great. It feels amazing. I'm just, again, I'm overjoyed for the people, for the fans who really, really deserve this. And if anybody has the opportunity, what I'll do is I'll link to it from our Facebook page too. But I urge everybody to go watch the final call, Jimmy Donovan making the call. Where
I saw that.
I'd play it for us, but I don't, I'll get yelled at and sued or something.
Probably.
But it's amazing. Look it up. Like I said, I'll put it up on our Facebook page so people can link to it, because it's just an amazing moment. And, Jimmy Donovan has been our play-by-play man for so long. He's just ingrained in our lives. So many people have watched him and heard him. I know a lot of people in my family, and I know a lot of people in Cleveland in general do this. They'll turn the volume of the game off and turn the radio on and listen to Jimmy call the game while they watch it on TV. I did that a lot. My uncle was just talking about doing it. So it's something worth watching and worth listening to, because you can really hear in his voice how important it is, how much it means, what it means to this franchise, and how important it was to him. Like, he cares. You can hear it in his voice how much he cares. It's not just a guy doing his job, calling a game. Like, he's Cleveland. He cares about it. So it's a great moment. It's a really cool thing to see. But yeah, 18 years, that's crazy.
If you're not following us on Twitter, which by the way you should be, the link's right down below here.
All down there.
Yep, there they are. Yeah. Social Media Jessica pointing out another item for that list. She was in high school the last time the Browns made the playoffs. I think she's trying to make both of us feel very, very old, which is a little rude.
No.
But whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I was only a few years removed from high school when that happened. So it's been a while. It really has been a long time, and it's a lot of suffering, and it's good to see all of that suffering finally coming to an end in a positive note. I did want to take a minute to say one thing too. Obviously, we're doing the show again here. We're doing it virtually. I know we missed a few weeks, the last couple weeks here. I just want to, kind of apologize to everybody and explain exactly what's going on. I think everybody's very well aware that we are in a pandemic, though, and unfortunately that has made things very, very difficult. It's difficult for us to get together and do things in a normal space that we've been doing it in. And then doing it like this is cool. We have the opportunity to do it, but it doesn't give us the opportunity to do it exactly the way that, we want to do it.
Right.
So kind of, and there's other things too that work factors, into it a little bit. So unfortunately, we weren't able to do it last couple of weeks, but I'm glad that we're back doing it here again this week, and we're absolutely going to be doing it again next week. Hopefully, talking about an extension of the playoffs.
Baby.
But if not, we'll be doing a little bit of a wrap up show there. But so without further ado, Kevin, what do you got? What kind of graphics are we looking at here? What do you want to hit on first?
Where do we want to go first? Well, first let's take the overview, the big picture, if you will. Let's take a look back
I'm a big picture guy. Let's do it.
At the season. So here's where we ended up.
That's so beautiful.
You did boot a couple down the stretch. Noticeably that Jets game, but
Listen, you can't hold me accountable for that one, because that's just absolutely ridiculous that took place. They never should have made us play that game. I was angry. You're going to get me going again, because I already see myself getting mad. They could have just postponed it for one day, but Roger Goodell was like, no, F you, Cleveland. Go play that game when you're missing 7 starters. Whatever, so I'll take that L. That's fine.
Other things of note on this graphic, though, look at how you've performed against some of the other AFC playoff teams. You've got win against the Titans. You've got win against the Colts. Yep. Both of those games on the road, mind you. Obviously, the 2 losses to Baltimore hurt, and you split with the Steelers. That's not a bad place to be.
But I will say this. Though. Even though we lost to the Ravens, which it was a tough pill to swallow, one thing that it did do is it proved that we can play with them and that we belong on the field with them.
Absolutely.
Because that first game that we played, we got blown out.
Trounced.
We were embarrassed, and we looked like we didn't know what we were doing.
No.
And there were a lot of people who were like, the Browns are paper tigers. You know what I mean? They're really not anything significant when they're playing good teams. They beat up on the bad teams, but you play a good team, they're going to fold. We got a couple of really big wins there, and then we went and we played that Baltimore game, national TV, under the lights, and we proved who we were as a football team. We lost. I know that the goal is to win, but we proved that we belong. So if we were to play them again, I'm confident that we would be able to do the same things against them. Now, can we stop them? I don't think so, which is a big, big problem that our defense has had all year. And we all know that. But I think that we can stack up next to them. I know yesterday's game. I understand that people were out. Ben was out and Watt was out, and those are two superstar guys, especially a guy like Watt who is just as impactful as a Myles Garrett who can really make an impact and kind of take over a game from his position there. It makes a big difference them being out. But a lot of starters were still in there, and we were battling with them. We were playing with the Steelers, their brand of football, their way, and showing that we belong with them as well. I know that Mason Rudolph is not Big Ben, but at the same time, Big Ben has looked old this year. Big Ben has looked all of that 38 years that he is, and he looks like he's kind of running out. So I kind of put them in very similar abilities right now. Again, I'm not taking anything away from Roethlisberger. I'm not trying to slight the man. He's got 2 Super Bowl rings. He's a Hall of Famer, but he's at the end. He's not the Big Ben of 6-7 years ago.
Right.
He's almost 39-year-old Big Ben. And that Big Ben is about the same as Mason Rudolph right now. So, it gives me confidence going into this game. It gives me confidence that the Browns were able to peak at the right time and really kind of come together. And all the players have been saying that as well. They're happy that we finally made it to the playoffs here, but they're not satisfied with it. They want more. They want to be able to play better. They want to be able to perform better. So I have confidence going forward that it's my voice keeps breaking, man. It's cracking me up. My neighbors had to think that somebody was getting murdered in this house yesterday because I was absolutely just going bonkers for a while. But yeah, I mean, it gives me confidence. I think that it gives the team confidence too going forward that, hey, listen, we can play with anybody. There's no offense in this league that we can't play with. We can play with anybody. And there's nobody that we can't beat. It's our defense is the big question. I think that everybody knows that. That's no secret. It's what can that secondary do? How are they going to be able to try to get something going? And we're just going to have to see. All we can do is wait, see what kind of energy and fire the Browns came out with. It was kind of a funky game too because, I think that Stefanski realized that more than likely the scenario was going to be that if we won, we were going to be playing the Steelers again the following week.
Right.
So from a strategic standpoint of view, as a coach, what you don't want to do is really reveal what you're going to do.
All the balls.
You know what I'm saying? You don't want to give away everything. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of things that I saw where I was like, I questioned it. I was kind of questioning some of the play calling. Some of the things that they were doing seemed awful vanilla and seemed very, very predictable. And I think that was kind of by design because Stefanski's like, listen, I'm not going to tip my hand and show you what we're going to be doing against you again next week. I guarantee you the game plan going into this game next week is very, very different from what it was going into this game. And we are going to attack the Steelers in a completely different way than what we did. We're still going to run the ball. We're still going to feed Chubb. We're still going to feed Kareem Hunt. But there were a lot of things. My uncle pointed out to me, it was an astute observation. I was still wrapped up in the game. It never really clicked with me. But the one thing that Baker Mayfield has been killer at all year has been rollouts. The rollout passes, those bootlegs where he's moving and he's throwing on the run. They didn't run one bootleg in that game yesterday. Not one play. Not one play did they have Baker Mayfield moving out of the pocket and throwing on the run? And when you consider that that's kind of a signature of this team and of Baker Mayfield this year, that immediately lets me know, hey, Stefanski is playing these kind of tight to the vest. The runs, they weren't doing anything major. They were kind of up the middle type runs. We weren't trying to get to the edge or oh, I'm dying here. Well, I'm telling you, my voice has been going all day.
This man's some water.
Just a lot of things. A lot of things were very, very vanilla. That's basically what it comes down to. Well, I grab myself some water.
Yeah, you get a drink there. Some interesting observations in the chat here. Going back to your point about the second game against the Ravens and the defensive issues, Pastor Sean pointing out that if you had a safety, you wouldn't have lost that game. So I think
absolutely. We've all year we've all talked about Sendejo and Kevin. This is the first week of the season, and we'll put the graphic up here in a little bit. This is the first week where I'm putting Sendejo. He's not in the doghouse, baby.
No,
he's not. He's a top dog. You know why? Because he didn't
play. When you help your team by not being on the field,
I loved it. Hopefully, he's not on the field next week. That would be even more wonderful. Wonderfuler.
The other defensive observation he has is saying that the Browns don't put as much pressure on this week and keeping guys back to play cover 2 because Ben is going to get rid of the ball a lot quicker.
No, but that's for sure. There's no doubt about that. Again, that's why, he's Ben Roethlisberger, and Ben knows that. So it's really gonna that's why this loss of Olivier Verdon is a big blow to the Browns, because that's such a huge hole to fill, because we need to get pressure. Mm-hmm. We have to get pressure on Ben and get to him quickly, because he's going to get rid of that ball quickly. And I think that everybody knows that, and that's the one thing that you're trying to defend as best as you can. I don't know the status of Denzel Ward right now. I don't know if he's going to play. The COVID list, you have to be 10 days removed from when you tested positive. And I don't know when his positive test was revealed. So there's a possibility that he might not play as well either, which again would be a huge blow to this team, because it's just another missing piece. If you can't get pressure and you can't cover, Big Ben is just going to absolutely rip you apart. It's going to happen. The only thing that we can hope for is that the Steelers kind of hurt themselves and get into a situation where they're making the mistakes that they've been making a lot the last few weeks, dropping a lot of passes. Ben just making poor reads, making poor throws. You have to hope that they're making those kind of mistakes in order for you to survive as a defense. Because if you're not getting pressure and you're not covering, and Ben's clicking, it's going to be a long day. Luckily, we do have the offense, though, to be able to dance and go toe-to-toe with them. So it's really going to kind of come down to that. It's what can you do defensively, specifically along that line? Can you get to Ben quick enough? And it's bad that you have to hope for the other team to constantly make mistakes, but it is a weakness of the Steelers. They have a lot of drop passes. Their receivers have had a lot of issues with dropping balls, and Ben has made a lot of really poor throws. He has. That's why I pointed out that he doesn't look like the Ben of old. Right. He looks like he is old. So if that's going to be the case, the Browns might luck out, and sneak this first win, and then hopefully get some more people back, get Denzel Ward back, a couple more pieces in that defense, and then be able to go a little bit further in the playoffs. But we'll see. It's absolutely our Achilles heel. It's no secret.
Speaking of Ward, Dr. Sean, who may or may not be the same person as Pastor Sean, points out that Ward, Sendejo, and Goodson can all come back as long as they continue to test negative.
Yeah,
I'll take his
I think
word
you
for
have to have. Yeah, no, I believe they have to have 5 consecutive tests in order to be cleared. But then it's also the 10-day thing too. You have to be 10 days removed and 5 consecutive negative tests from when you were tested positive. I don't know when that was. If Ward tested positive on Friday, that's a problem because then he's not going to be able to play in the game on Sunday. If he did on Wednesday, obviously it changes things. So I'm not sure on that. I can look into that maybe and try to figure that out. But I guess we're all just going to have to kind of wait and see. And also, too, he did test positive for COVID, so you don't know what are the effects of that. Is he going to be one of the lucky ones that has no symptoms? He's asymptomatic. Or is he going to be one of these guys who are like Myles Garrett has still talked about the fact that he's winded. He still has to, and he's coming out of the game. You see it often, he's still trying to get that breath back. He's still getting hit with that fatigue and that. So, I mean, as a cornerback, holy cow, if that's an issue, there's nothing you can do about that. So we're just going to have to monitor the situation and see how he's responding to it, what's going on with him, and if he's eligible to play. Obviously, we're going to need every single piece that we can get out there because this is new for the Browns. This is the one area, too, where Pittsburgh has a huge leg up on us. This is what Pittsburgh does every year.
Right.
This is what is expected of them every year. Win the division, go to the playoffs, make a deep playoff run. They do this every year. The Browns we don't do this. We haven't made a deep playoff run since I was in grade school. So that, you know what I mean? Like, this is all new to the Browns. There's a lot of people on this team who have never done. Myles Garrett has never been to the playoffs before. Baker Mayfield has never been to the playoffs before. Jarvis Landry, I don't think has ever been to the playoffs before. He might have gone with Miami. I'm not sure. I'm not positive about that. But you know what I'm saying? There's the point that I'm making is that it's very inexperienced, not only for the team and for the franchise, but for a lot of the young team as well. Nick Chubb's never been to the playoffs before. These are our key players, and this is a new stage for them. Whereas the Steelers, this is what they do. Right. They know what's going to happen. They know what this moment feels like. They know what's expected of them, how they're supposed to perform. Tomlin knows how to coach in these situations. He's going to have them prepared and ready to go like this is the Super Bowl. So that experience for them is going to be a huge advantage, and for us it's going to be a huge disadvantage. The Browns are going to have to find a way to calm themselves, settle themselves down, but at the same time still play aggressive and play like you understand that this is it. You lose, you go home. So it's going to be a tough balance for them to strike as a young team. I believe in them. Why would I not at this point? I'm gonna jump on this bandwagon and ride it until the wheels fall off of it. But that's going to be a huge disadvantage for the Browns going into this game. I see you smiling too. Things are amiss?
Nothing is amiss. Everything is great. We even got a shout out on the Twitter sphere from Pastor Sean, so appreciate that, letting folks know how to tune into our little TV show here.
And speaking of Pastor Sean, real quick there, Kevin, because I know like a number of people have reached out. So like Matthew J has asked me, hey, when are we gonna try to get people on again and stuff? And Pastor Sean's gonna wants to come back on, and I want to have him on and stuff. You've got a couple of things that you were working on that we were gonna try to figure this out. Figure it out. I don't know if you want to make any kind of announcements on anything. If you want to, feel free to go ahead and do it. Plug it and let everybody know. If not, we can hold off.
No,
see what we can come up with.
It's nothing earth-shattering. A lot of people are probably familiar with Discord servers and the kind of how those operate and the things you can do with those. So we're looking at ways to get our viewers involved on more a regular basis, not just during the show here, but a place where people can kind of hang out in a message board chat room type atmosphere, even as you're watching the game, a spot to hang out and just kind of weigh in on what's going around with like-minded viewers like Shooter. I think we should be able to get that link posted on our social medias this week. It does offer some options for doing additional kind of video chatting things so that we could have guests on. Haven't ironed out all of the technical details there in terms of how we get that brought into this system to get.
Well,
it
you
onto
realize
the
too, Kevin, that I will be of no help whatsoever in that because I don't know.
Well, you're of no help.
I don't know how
in
any
general,
of that works.
So I
know.
understand.
As far as I'm concerned,
helpful.
everything happening right now is voodoo. This is just
Yes.
voodoo. I don't know how this works or takes place at all. But yeah, no, that's very exciting. I'm excited about it. So hopefully we can, as the next week.
I feel like by the time we get
up,
to the Super Bowl, we'll have it ironed out. So we'll just do a big
Super Bowl. I like the way that you're thinking. I like the way you're thinking. I like what you're saying. I love the words that are coming out of your face right now. What you're saying, love it. Love what you just said. It's fantastic. Yeah, that sounds good.
So speaking of that,
and then
let's take a look at what it's going to take to get there.
Let's do that.
So here's the AFC lineup for Wild Card Weekend. Obviously, you've got Kansas City on the bye, and then honestly, to me, 2 through 7 is kind of a crapshoot. And I just realized.
Well, here's what I'll tell you what I'm looking for right now the most is I really want the Titans to knock off Baltimore one more time because that would be fantastic. It'll just really piss them off. And I want to see Baltimore out. Look at the AFC North, by the way. You got to tip your cap to the Browns, too, for making it into the playoff. 3 teams from the AFC North all making it in. What a division. Cincinnati, get your shit together. Join the party. But, yeah, I'd love to see Baltimore get knocked off here. The Bills, I think, are going to surprise a lot of people.
Are they that good, though?
They are that good. Their defense is for real. I think that Josh Allen is for real. I think that he's emerging this year. This is his year where we talked about it earlier in the year, Kevin, when we were discussing Baker Mayfield and the time that you really start to flourish as a young quarterback. That third year being the year where things kind of come together for you. Yeah. That's exactly what's happening with Josh Allen in Buffalo. This is his third year in that system, and it's starting to click for him. And it's really he's starting to play at a completely different level. He's going to be. I think that going forward, you're going to see Josh Allen enter into that elite quarterback of the NFL type upper echelon player. He's that good. He's performing that well. The Bills are for real. They are. I don't think that Indianapolis has any chance in that game. I think that they're going to get steamrolled by Buffalo. And then so you're going to have is that, Kevin, I don't know if you can go back to that real quick. Is that a bracket? So, like, if the Browns beat the if we beat the Steelers, then we'll play Kansas City?
No, because it'll be I'm pretty sure it's the lowest seed then plays the highest remaining seed.
Okay, yeah. I looked at it. It's because it's really, really weird with 7 teams being in and only 1 team getting a bye.
Right.
I looked at the way that it was laid out, and I was like, oh wow, this is really crazy. So yeah, I would like to avoid Kansas City as much as possible for as long as possible. I'll definitely tell you that much.
Well, then you got to hope for the Colts to win, I think.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. We'll see. All I know is that I'm just excited that we're talking about these scenarios, and we're the Browns are involved in all of it. So we'll see how it shakes out. I'm confident against all of these teams. I'm confident the Browns can hang with Kansas City, offense to offense. I think Baker Mayfield in a shootout, with Patty Mahomes, I'm confident in that. We have a superior running game. We have weapons. I'm not going to say that Baker Mayfield's better than Patrick Mahomes. I'm not that big of a homer. But Baker Mayfield is a hell of a quarterback, and he's not just going to lay down. He's more than willing and capable of leading this team to a really good game against them. Again, it's just going to be defensively. And I think that there's just way too much firepower in Kansas City against our defense. You put a guy like Patrick Mahomes up against the Browns secondary, and that's just game over. You're only hope in that situation is that you can just you can score on every. They're going to score on every drive. You have to know that. You have to go into that knowing that that's what's going to happen. They're scoring on every drive, so you have to score on every drive as well. And if you can keep up with it, play whoever has the ball last and see what happens. That's because that's really all it's going to wind up coming down to, because Kansas City's not going to make any mistakes. It's not like Patrick Mahomes is going to go out there and start throwing interceptions. I think he's thrown like 4 all year. He's thrown less than 10 in the last 2 years, so it's just not going to happen. He's an MVP and a Super Bowl champion for a reason. So yeah, but listen, we can play with anybody. We can play with anybody on that list, and I'm excited to see how this all shakes out.
Good stuff there. A couple other notes from the chat. Eric Evans popping in, pointing out that he called that Allen was going to be awesome when he declared, and I think that I think that's actually a pretty astute observation. I think that there's a kind of a mid-generation of quarterbacks that a lot of people are overlooking.
For sure. For sure there are, and I mean. He was, and Josh Allen was in that grouping, and there was like 3 guys. It was like Josh Allen, Josh Rosen, and I believe it wasn't Wentz. It was the year after Wentz, but it was the 3 of them, and Sam Darnold. I'm sorry. Yeah. So Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, Josh Allen, those 3, and it was like, who's going to be better than all of them? And we see that only one of them really has turned into much of anything. Obviously, with it being Josh Allen, because Sam Darnold has struggled mightily, and I don't know if Josh Rosen even plays football anymore, which is really sad. To get booted off of 2 teams already. I don't know what his future holds, but it doesn't look like much of anything. So, but yeah, I think he's right. I believe he did call that a number of years ago. So good on you, sir.
And then Sean pointing out that Baker has already beat Mahomes in a shootout before, which I believe was in college.
I was going to say that was college. Well, and here's the other thing too.
I mean, so different teams, obviously, but.
Here's something to keep in mind too. If it were to come down to a Browns-Chiefs matchup at some point here in the playoffs, I don't know if a lot of people realize this or know this, but if you go back to Baker Mayfield's career, he was a walk at Texas Tech, and he walked on and became a starter and played really, really well, and then he lost his job at Texas Tech to Patrick Mahomes. And that caused Baker to then leave. He went into the transfer portal or whatever, and then went to Oklahoma, where he walked on at Oklahoma and then did what he did at Oklahoma. So Baker Mayfield has a little bit of an axe to grind with Patrick Mahomes. Mm-hmm. And if it's going to come down to a game between Baker and Patrick Mahomes, Baker's going to want to give it to him because he took his job from him in Texas Tech. That's where Baker wanted to be. He wanted to be at Texas Tech, and he wanted to win and succeed there. And he was beaten out by Patrick Mahomes. Now, listen, you can't get too upset about it, I guess. It's right. To lose your job to a guy of that pedigree. But nonetheless, that's a little bit of a motivating factor for Baker Mayfield going into a potential matchup with the Chiefs. Man, you may have taken my job, you may have beaten me, but I'm going to beat you, exact a little revenge there. So that's something to keep in mind.
Indeed, it is. Do you want to move on to the good, bad, and ugly we came up with for this week?
Let's do it, because this is my favorite graphic. This is my absolute favorite graphic right here.
There it is.
The playoffs, baby. That's the good. There's nothing else to talk about. We're in the playoffs. That's all that matters. That's all good, the playoffs. No matter the Eagles, what the hell did they do? Oh, my God. That was
They did atrocious. It on purpose just to screw the Giants is what they did.
And you know what? And Doug Peterson's going to sit there and say that he didn't, and he's full of shit because
he's
he absolutely
100% full of shit.
Oh yeah, and the ugly anyone from Pittsburgh, baby. Yeah, that's it. That is it.
That may be a shot directly at one Tom Lanahan, but that's another story.
No, listen, I'll say this to you. On top of one thing that I've wanted more than just the Browns playing good football, playing watchable football, and obviously getting back to the playoffs, is also this rivalry with the Steelers, because it has not been a rivalry for a long long time.
Right.
It was just a game that the Steelers had to play on their schedule. It was a W. They knew it was a W. They didn't care. It was a joke. It was a mockery for them. The Steelers would play us in Cleveland every year, and the stadium would be flooded yellow. It was a disgusting sight to see. To see your stadium filled with the opposing team's fans, and it's not just the opposing team, it's your bitter arch rival. Yep. You know what I mean? It would be like going to a game in Lambeau Field and seeing a sea of Bears jerseys. What would that do to you, Kevin? I mean, that would make your blood boil.
I've been there, done that. Not with the Packers and Bears, though, but with the Brewers and the Cubs. For the longest time, and some Cub fans still call County Stadium, Miller Park, American Family, whatever they want to call it now, Wrigley North. And the Brewers, for a while, and they might still do it, for
Kevin,
home games against the Cubs, they have like a residency
for the
check.
Cubs, right?
Well, yes, that much is true.
You realize we have a mutual, because I hate them too for obvious reasons.
Yes.
But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. That is a perfect example, and that's what the Browns have had to go through. That's what this fan base has had to deal with and see. And bringing that rivalry back and putting it front and center again, the way that we could get it back to where it really, really was and where it needs to be is if we win this game. If we win this, if we beat the Steelers in the playoffs, oh shit, that's it. That's game on.
Yeah.
The gloves are off, and now it's going to be back to a blood feud, like it was like when I was growing up, the way that I remember it. The way that everybody in Pittsburgh remembered it to be. If you're my age, and you're a Steelers fan. My brother-in-law is a diehard Steelers fan. He's from Pittsburgh. He remembers what it's like too. I remember a few years ago, he got to a point. He's like, I'm not even going to talk shit to you anymore, Mike. He's like, what can I?
There's nothing to say.
Like,
yeah.
Right. And he wasn't even doing it to be a dick. He was being respectful.
Right.
He was like, listen, I'm not going to pile on. There's no sense in it. It's classless for me to sit here and give you a hard time. I mean, he'd rib me every once in a while, but really, what are you going to say? Now we're getting close to having that back. We beat him last year in a pretty cool game. Ended unfortunately with Myles Garrett trying to put Mason Rudolph's helmet back on for him very, very gently because he's a very nice young man and he looked cold. So that was a huge game. Obviously, they won the final one with Myles being out. They kicked our ass earlier in the year. This year, we win this game to get into the playoffs and beat them. Now we're going to play them. It's getting back to where we want it to be as dueling fan bases. I know I want it. I want to be able to talk shit to the Steelers about them. I want to talk about their fans. I want to talk about their mothers. I want to talk about their children. I want to talk about their driving habits and their stupid pets. I want to talk about all of that shit. If we win this game, we'll get the opportunity to do that. And one more note on the rivalry, too. Mm-hmm. Something for Browns fans to keep in mind, especially the ones who unfortunately aren't old enough to remember, who aren't as old as I am. The last two times the Browns' playoff runs have come to an end was in 1994 and in 2002. And in both of those years, we lost to the Steelers in the playoffs. So Pittsburgh has been ending our hopes and dreams in the playoffs and just owning us for a really long time. And it's time for all of these streaks to end. The playoff streak came to an end. Now it's time to end this Pittsburgh dominant streak. It's time to snap the playoff streak. It's time for all of this shit to end. I know that's the way that I look at it. It's the way that I feel about it. So I'm excited, and we've got some revenge going into this game.
Yeah, Pastor Sean agrees. He says if the Browns beat the Steelers, the rivalry will be napalm-esque hot again. And I think
he's not wrong.
Got a point there.
He's not wrong, and you'll see it being like in when the Browns went away, and then we were mired in our 20 years of suck there. The Steelers developed a rivalry with the Ravens. And it was a pretty significant one to the point where it was when the Steelers played the Ravens, it was national TV. It was a big deal. It was a big game, and they were always just hard fought, hard hitting, grind out games where everybody brought their A game. And every time I saw it, it pissed me off. It made me angry, not only because that was my old team, but to see your rival just completely dismiss you. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, seeing your ex-girlfriend with a new boyfriend or something. You're like, wait a minute, that guy's a tool. Forget that guy. So it's just irritating. I hated the fact that they were able to just get out of our rivalry and go right into a new one with the Ravens. So I want it back. I want us to have that, Batman Joker dynamic again, the way that it used to be, because that's fun.
Yes.
And it's something that this franchise, we got a generation of Browns fans that don't even know what that's like. They don't know what that feels like. They never experienced it. They don't get it. And I remember it. I put a post on Facebook last night in my drunkenness, where I was discussing what it was like the last time the Browns won a playoff game in '94. I was there. And it was at Old Municipal Stadium, which was like this Roman Coliseum type place. And it was so loud, and we won that game, and that entire stadium exploded with everybody just saying, "We want Pittsburgh. We want Pittsburgh," screaming it. And it was echoing through people in Canada probably heard us chanting for it. They wanted it so bad. And because it was just so bitter, and that's how much we wanted it, and we got it, and we got our ass kicked in that game promptly, which was very, very upsetting, and it shut everybody up. But just that it was there to have that and to see that and experience that. And there's, again, that was 28 years ago. People don't remember that. People don't. They don't know what it's like. There's so many people don't remember that or didn't get to experience that. And I want them to see it. I want them to feel it. I want them to experience it. So I want to go into Pittsburgh and I want to whoop their ass. That's what I want to do.
That's a a simple enough request, right? So
it is.
Eric in the chat brings up, and we've already touched on this a little bit, but I'm going to get to a more specific question. The D will either win or lose the Browns-Steelers game, because we all know that the Steelers are going to bring the house on defense. So my question that I asked in chat here, and I'll ask you as well, Shooter, is do you think Baker will be able to show the same mobility he showed at the end of this game to win the game? Do you think he's going to have that same mobility next week with obviously a slightly different defensive front from the Steelers when they're not resting people?
Right, under duress. Well, I think that a lot of that's really going to come down to Kevin Stefanski and what his game plan is going to be. Again, I think that we've proven and discussed one of Baker's main strengths is him being on the run, moving out of the pocket. I think you're going to see a lot of that. I think you're going to see a lot of those bootleg type plays. I think you're going to see a lot of those play action type plays. I think that you're going to see, them trying to get a lot of screens. I think that you're going to see a lot. They love to do those screens to Kareem Hunt, and those are quick too. That's how you get rid of that ball real quick. So when you have in a situation where that blitz is coming, where that they're bringing it all, if you can just get a little flick out to Kareem Hunt and get him on the edge, you can do a lot of damage there. It's going to come down as to whether or not the Browns can run the football. I don't see any reason why we can't. We have Nick Chubb. We have Kareem Hunt. We've got the tools. We can run the ball on anybody. Our offensive line is going to be healthy and intact. Yesterday was the first game in weeks that we had our full offensive line together again. Wyatt Teller is back. Wills is back. Batonio is there. So J.C. Treader is back. He's not dinged up anymore. Our entire offensive line is there, and that is a humongous advantage to the Browns. Because when he's pulling and he's opening up those huge holes for Nick Chubb and for Kareem Hunt, and we're able to run the ball down your throat, all of a sudden the defense doesn't have that ability to pull their ears back and just bring the house at you. They can't do that because they're going to get absolutely burned. They've got to sell out to try to stop the run, and that's going to give Baker Mayfield the opportunity to run those rollouts, those bootlegs, and to do some play action damage. So our offensive line, I think, is really what's going to set us apart and what's going to try to stop that Steelers defensive attack. That's the only way that we can go about doing it. But it's a great point, and it's a great question. Can Baker do it? I think that if we keep him doing the things that he's good at, yes, we absolutely can. If we make Baker stand in the pocket and throw the football, it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a very long day for the Browns and for Browns fans if that's what's going to happen. But I think that Kevin Stefanski has learned. I think that he knows. I trust him completely. I cannot sing the praises anymore of this coach. I know it's going to sound like I'm a homer here.
Yeah,
Kevin
I really want to put
Stefanski
this
should
with your clips of when he was hired back to back.
And you know what? And you can too. Because I've never in my life have I been more happy about being wrong. I'm so happy that I was wrong because it's wonderful. I wanted to be wrong because I wanted to feel like this, so that I was. It's great. He should be coach of the year. I don't think that there's a doubt anywhere that he should be coach of the year. I don't see one coach in this league who has done a better job for a team than Kevin Stefanski has done for the Browns this year. It's been remarkable what he has accomplished. And a few hiccups, a few rookie coaching mistakes, and a few bad calls on him on his part. But overall, what a solid season he has put together, and he's been able to make adjustments. And I
think
great.
That's the biggest thing is seeing those adjustments over the course of the season. Because again, rookie coach, there's gonna be things that you learn throughout the season, and the big question is, do you think that you're such a good coach that you're just going to stick with things that aren't working, or are you going to make the adjustments that you need to do to put your team in those positions to succeed? And I think that's the one thing that we've talked about throughout the season is every time that the Browns were trying something and it wasn't working, the next week they weren't continuing to, beat a dead horse. They were saying, okay, that didn't work. What can we do that will work? And finding those things and getting players in a position and in a rhythm.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And that's what you're right. It's what he's done. He's put us in positions to succeed. And when he sees something not working, he goes away from it. He takes it out. Okay, this isn't a strength of ours. We're going to get rid of this. Right. So I don't think that you're going to see Stefanski putting Baker Mayfield in a position to fail coming up next week. I think you're going to see him flashing the great ability that he has and doing what he's great at.
Eric pointing out in chat here, DPJ in concussion protocol on the sideline was asked where he was per a protocol questionnaire. His response was playoffs, baby.
That's absolutely fantastic.
If that's not true, it needs to be, basically.
Yeah, well, it is. I'm making it true. I'm making it true now. It's for real. That's exactly what happened.
It is decided.
Yeah. So, Kevin, anything else?
We've got the one thing left: the top dog in Doghouse.
Okay, let's bring it up.
That simple?
The doghouse is empty.
It's an empty doghouse.
Sendejo is not in it because he didn't play, baby, so he doesn't deserve it. He was good doing what he was doing, which was sitting on the couch watching the game on television, just like you and me. And that's what he should be doing next week during the game. But I know it's probably not going to be the case. Everybody gets a game ball this week. Again, it's such a euphoric time for us right now. The curse has been lifted, and this is it's a new era in Cleveland Browns football, and it feels great. It feels great to be in this position and to be talking about this and to have a 17th game on the season, and hopefully a couple more after that if we can really let have the football gods smile on us. So everybody gets a game ball for this one. I look at this game coming up here. I look for it to be. It's going to be a fight. It's really going to be a fight. It's going to be a battle.
But that's,
you run a little.
Even as an impartial viewer, I'm getting less impartial, but whatever. That's what you want to see in the playoffs. You want to see good games.
Yeah. Oh, I want to see a 55-0 rout.
Right.
I don't want to see a good game. I would like to see, just a complete overthrow of a nation. I have no problem with that, but that's not going to happen. Again, it's going to be a fight. This is like you said, Kevin. It's the playoffs. You run a little bit faster. You hit a little bit harder. That's what it is. That's what it comes down to, and that's what is going to take place. And we'll see. You already know where I'm going to go with this one. You know that I'm picking the Browns to win this game. I think that they're fired up. I think that they're fired up. I don't think that there's an ability. I don't think that they want this to end. I believe them when they say that they're not satisfied just getting here. They have a chip on their shoulder. They have something to prove, and I think that they're going to take the fight to them. I don't know if they're going to win. They're going to give it their damnedest. They're going to try their hardest. Unfortunately, that secondary is it's bad, and that might be if there's any one thing, it's going to be that thing, that one thing keeping us from winning. I think we're going to get it done, though. I'm picking my Browns to win. I'm going to call it 34-31 Browns.
All right. Tom
Win it by a
Lanahan
field goal.
did get back to us on Twitter. He says, "See you Sunday, boys."
Okay. Tom, we got to get we have to at least get something. I'll take a video of him during the week or something like that. At least get him talking some shit or something like that, so we can play it. But we're coming for you, Tom. We're coming. It's happening. It's happening, Tom. It's happening. All right, Kevin. Anything else?
Let me see. I think I missed a few other things in chat here while I was going back and forth. Inquiring minds want to know: off-season, postseason shows, are they happening?
Yes, we will definitely. It's definitely something that we'll be working on. I know for a fact. We're going to go again next week. I would like to do maybe an end of the year or Super Bowl type show. A Super Bowl show would be great. Definitely going to do a draft show. Maybe we can even do a couple of draft shows. A pre-draft and then maybe like an actual draft special. And hopefully the shows get to improve a little bit too as COVID kind of dies out, hopefully, and the vaccinations
we can actually start doing them normally again.
We can start getting back to we can get back to a real world scenario. We've got Kevin, you can attest to it. We have a lot of toys now. We have a lot of toys and a lot of things that we can do some really, really cool stuff with. And unfortunately, we just don't have the opportunity to unleash it. And it's bummed me out. It really has. To know that we can't do the things the way that we want to do them. That was a long answer of saying yes, a long way of saying yes. But there will definitely be off-season shows.
Sean and Eric say they're both going to the draft, so if we need on-location correspondence, they've got us covered.
Oh, hey, listen, don't tempt me, man, because there's absolutely a chance that we could do something like that. Technology is a wonderful thing, and so is the internet, and we can make something like that happen. I know that as an example, Kevin, we talked about it in the offseason. One of my biggest plans for this show was I wanted to go to Cleveland, number one, this summer. I was going to be going to training camp. I had a lot of plans.
We were going to go to the Jacksonville game.
Yeah, we were supposed to go to the Jacksonville game. I wanted to go, to training camp. I wanted to make a couple of trips to Cleveland. I was going to try to go drive up there and go to a game and try to do the show maybe from the Muni lot or do some things from the Muni lot. We have the ability to do it. We do. And unfortunately, none of this stuff was able to take place because of the unfortunate situations that are affecting not only us, but the rest of the world as well. So it all kind of got put on hold and on a hiatus. So hopefully, as we start to get back to some normalcy in our lives again, we can start unveiling a little bit more and more of that and really kind of unfurl the wings of our show here, so to speak. That's right, Jessica. I said unfurl. She's probably already making a snide comment.
No, she did have one earlier about, what did you say earlier? I'm going to scroll and see if I can.
Who knows?
There was a word she didn't realize that you knew. Oh, astute. She didn't know that you knew astute.
Come on.
But then, of course, you followed it up with wonderful-er.
Well, I did that on purpose for comedic effect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, keep telling yourself that.
That's a word. By the way, listen, why is that not a word? How can it not be a word? It's a word. Wonderfuler. You know what? Come at me. Say, oh, that's a made-up word. All words are made-up words. So guess what? Wonderfuler is a word now. Bing, bang, boom, I win.
Yeah. Okay.
That's how
we're ending the show, huh? That's great. On a little diatribe about English.
All right, listen. Go Browns. I'm glad we're in the playoffs, baby. We're going to beat some Steeler ass, and we're going to be here next week to talk about this again. Go Browns. We'll see you later.
And keep your eye on the social media over the course of the week. If we get, we'll get the Discord information out there for those of you who want to take part in that. I think that should be a lot of fun. You're not even close to the pointing, but
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, so we'll wrap it up for this week, and we'll leave you with this, folks.
Oh God, it's so bad.